So now today we will discuss task-based language teaching. So at first, so if we want to define a task, so task is the activity which want or requires learners to implement, not only use but implement the language. If you say use, implement or activate, they both are same. Activate the language, use the language or implement the language. Okay. So there are two types of tasks. So task-based language teaching. So there are two types of tasks. What are those? The first, the one is related to classroom. The another one is not related to classroom. That means the first one, the activities are based on the classroom. The another one, the activities are outside the classroom. So the both two tasks are target tasks and pedagogical tasks. So pedagogical task is what? So the task is from the heart of the classroom activities, a piece of classroom work that involve communicative language use in which the user's attention is focused on meaning rather than grammatical form. তাহলে হচ্ছে এখানে আমাদের কি আসতেছে? Induction or inductive way of language learning. Okay. So whenever we focus on solely on meaning rather than form, so what can we how can we define this term? Inductive way or deductive way? যখন হচ্ছে আমরা মিনিং এর উপরে ফোকাস করি rather than structure, তাহলে এটাকে কি বলা হয়? Deduction or induction? Induction, inductive way. Meaning, focusing on meaning, or দেখা যাচ্ছে যে দেয়ার ইজ অ্যানাদার টার্ম হুইচ ইজ অ্যাকুইজিশন অ্যান্ড লার্নিং। এটা কিন্তু সবসময় মনে রাখবেন, অ্যাকুইজিশন অ্যান্ড লার্নিং। অ্যাকুইজিশন ইজ ফোকাসেস অন ন্যাচারাল লার্নিং অর whenever we focusing on the meaning, and the grammatical form whenever we the primary focus is on grammar, then the method is called deductive way. Okay. Okay, so target task is what? Target tasks are the ones students must accomplish beyond classroom. So target task is related to the activities outside the classroom, okay, or beyond the classroom. Okay, so what will be the activities which we accomplish beyond the classroom? We will cover it within few moments. Okay, so at first, so that is task. So what are the characteristics of task? Okay, এটা হচ্ছে বই থেকে, বই হচ্ছে পেজ নাম্বার 47. So what is target task and pedagogical task? Pedagogy means education. Pedagogy is related to learning. So if I say what is pedagogical task, so you must memorize it through the environment of classroom. So pedagogical task is related to classroom activities, and target task is beyond the classroom activities. মানে classroom activities এর বাইরেও এক্সট্রা কিছু থাকে। Beyond মানে হচ্ছে beyond, বাইরে। One is solely in the classroom. Yes, another one is not only restricted inside the classroom but also outside the classroom activities. That is called target task. Okay, so what are the characteristics of an effective task? Meaning is primary. Okay. So এখানে if we look at the slide, a good task should. So these are the criteria of a good task and the characteristics of effective task. They both are same. Characteristics of an effective task and the good task. The quality of a good task. So they both are same. So meaning is primary. If we look at the book, first at page number 47, the first criteria of a good task is meaning. So we will solely focusing on the meaning rather than grammatical form. Okay, so that's why meaning is primary. Then the first point on the slide is promote attention to meaning negotiation. So that is maintaining the same meaning, which is meaning is primary. So meaning is our main focus. There is the communication problem to solve. So we are solving the problem by communication. So that is related to which method? Silent way. Can you remember silent way? In the silent way, learners have the total freedom and they are solving the problem by their own. Okay, then involve language use and draw objectives from the communicative needs of learners. Then on the book, there is a relationship to comparable real world activities. Task completion has some priority, critical awareness. Okay. Then there is a relationship to comparable real world activities. So real world activities এর সাথে এটার একটা meaning থাকতে হবে. That means the relationship to the language with real world tasks. So that's why there is said that there is a relationship to comparable real world activities. Then task completion has some priorities, and then the assessment of the task is in terms of outcome. So the language is same, the meaning is same on the box and on the slide, but the language is different. Okay, so here it is written that involve language use, then allow for co-evaluation. Co-evaluation means assessment. Okay, the last point on the book is the assessment of the task is in terms of outcome. So the assessment means co-evaluation. So evaluation is there. So there is not, the criteria is not only that you are solely doing the task, but there is also evaluation or assessment of the task. Okay, there are three methodology of task based. There are three stages of task: pre-task, post-task, and pre-task, main task, and post-task. In the book, okay, so the types of or the categories of task is on page number 47, target task and pedagogical task. And there are three stages of task. Okay, main task, pre-task, main task, and post-task. So the first one is done before the main task, that is called pre-task, and the second one is main task, and the third one is post-task. Okay, I think এটা বই নাই। Target task and pedagogical task is there, but okay. Okay, so what are the three stages of task? Pre-task, main task, and post-task. So এটার ইমপ্লিকেশনটা আমরা যখন দেখব whenever we will learn how to design a course plan. Pre-task, main task, and post-task. I will brief it after the recording. I will brief it after the recording. Okay, pre-task, main. There are three stages: pre-task, main task, and post-task. Pre means before. Pre means before, or somehow we can say premature, before getting maturity. Okay, so before the main task, we do pre-task, then main task, then post. Post means after the main task. Okay. Okay, now we can start task-based language teaching. Okay. Okay, so there is a relationship between communicative language teaching and task-based language teaching. So please go to the page number 46. So what is task-based language teaching? What is, or how we can define TBLT? TBLT means task-based language teaching. Okay, so task means here indicating meaningful task using the target language, and if we want to define the TBLT, we can say that task-based language teaching, or TBLT, is a method of instruction which solely focuses on the use of authentic language. Okay, and students doing meaningful tasks using the target language. Okay, so these are the tasks. Okay, visiting the doctor, conducting an interview, calling customer services, okay, for help. So this is the task. So we are accomplishing this task using the authentic language. So what is what is authentic language? That the language we are using right now, is it fake? No. So how can we define authentic language? Right. Some kind of, whenever we are memorizing some kind of phrase, idioms, and we are applying like it as like a machine. Okay, we are not understanding the meaning, but using the language as like we are not understanding or we are not getting the meaning. That's why this is called, these languages are not authentic, because these languages they have not any relation to the real world task. Okay, so that's why the use of authentic language is must in TBLT. Okay, so authentic language means what is authenticity? Can you remember from language testing and evaluation? What is authenticity? There are 5 criteria of a good test. Okay, practicality, validity, reliability, authenticity, and washback. These 5. Okay, so what is authenticity? Authentic test. Please remember the definition of authentic test, then you will understand what is authentic language. Okay, so authentic test is that in which in the test where the test taker focuses on real world activities. Okay, the test implicates or reflects the real world task or activities. So that test is called authentic test. So if you want to define authentic language, the definition is same. Authentic language means the language which reflects our regular life or our daily life or our real life. Okay, and the language which is related to context, real world context. So this language is called authentic language. Okay, so in the task-based language teaching, we use authentic language, and also we do meaningful task using the authentic or target language. So these methods, that's why this method is called task-based language teaching. So here the assessment is primarily based on task outcome and the characteristics of, can you remember the characteristics of CLT? Meaning, form and meaning, fluency and accuracy, overall goals, teachers' roles, learners' roles, real world activities. These, I think these 7. There are 7 characteristics of CLT. So here page 46. So what are the relationship or the similarities, similarity of CLT and TBLT? CLT addresses the question why, and TBLT answers the question how. Okay, so CLT addresses why we are using target language, or why the language must be related to the real world activities, and the task teaches us, or the TBLT guides us how can we use the target language using the how can we use the authentic language by doing meaningful tasks. Okay, so that's why TBLT is necessary, or TBLT is related to communicative language teaching, or CLT. Okay, then okay, so here is the detailed overview of TBLT. The emphasis on learning to communicate through interaction, and in the introduction of authentic text into the learning situation, and enhancement of the learner's own personal experience. So all these are focusing learners' experience, knowledge and understanding. They don't focus on that your grammar must have to be accurate, or your language need to be fully componential. Okay, so that's why these are the detailed overview of TBLT, or task-based language teaching. Okay, we can now move to the page 49. Okay, here is an example of pedagogical task. Page 48. Okay, what is pedagogical task? I said it few minutes ago.
It's solely focuses on the
classroom activities. So here an example of pedagogical task is given, which is designed to teach students to give personal information in a job interview. For example, involves exercises in comprehension, WH question. So these 6 activities all are related to classroom activities. How? It's a demo job interview, which includes drill activities, listening, analyzing of grammar and discourse, okay, role playing. Okay, so these are pedagogical tasks. Kind of psychometric test, yeah, related to classroom activities, and also focusing real world tasks. Okay, yeah, it is one of the parts of task based language teaching. Okay, so what were the meaningful tasks we did in the psychometric test? As like throwing the arrow to the board, okay, and then standing on a queue. Okay, so these are real world activities. Okay, page 49. Okay, so if we read more from the slide, principles of TBT, I think we are done with today's lecture. Okay, how কতক্ষণ হয়েছে?